Today, on This American Dice, Ishi turns his investigative talent on another magistrate. Aji seeks the help of those connected to the spirits, but may have bitten off more than he can chew. The tentative peace of the city is put in jeopardy with the death of an important merchant, and there is a significant shuffling in the hierarchy of the Emerald Magistrates. Find out what happens today on This American Dice.
The next 2 or 3 days are calm unless you guys do something to disturb them. And I'll give you more information.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely either disturb it super or I don't. I'm gonna.
So are we all gonna light the dragon tower on fire, or just me?
I'm going to.
That's exactly what it wants.
I'm going to investigate Yogo Osako. I'm gonna use that move to turn the stone to see the rod.
All right.
A large city surrounded by green walls and acres of poppy fields. A group of monks traveled toward the city, exchanging prayers for whatever alms the poor peasants of the countryside can spare. In the noble quarter, we see a beautiful but imposing palace and a foreign-looking minareted estate. In the temple quarter, we see the glistening white temple of the sun goddess with a 60-foot pole topped by a shimmering golden spear, and the Temple of the Fortune of Wealth with its towering statue of the patriot god of the city. Next door in the merchant quarter, we see busy streets with noisy merchants selling wares from all over Rokugan and beyond. On the other side of the Bay of Drowned Honor, the fisherman's quarter, dirtier with poorer commoners, meaner gangs, and shabby dwellings amid the docks and warehouses. We pass the leather workers' quarter, the home of the Ada, the Untouchables, and the only building of notice there, the city crematorium. Finally, we arrive at Teardrop Island, the license quarter, with its perpetual twilight of hanging lanterns, fine sake and geisha houses. We follow a man in a basket hat as he's beckoned inside by a beautiful geisha. He enters and removes his hat. We see one of the monks from the beginning. Ryoko Owari, City of Lies.
So turn the stone to see the rock. So you roll sagacious?
Hopefully it goes well, because otherwise, it's bad.
Yeah. Ooh, not great.
It's not a miss, though. That's all that matters,
7?
actually. So 7.
All right, so what do we get on a 7?
Is it just that? I think it's just I have to spend favor. I have to spend things to get to even learn anything. Look.
Yeah, I've got to move some of that too.
Yeah. Because I kind of wrote it, I just want to make sure.
The economy of this game at times is hard for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to pay wealth, so bribing people.
Mm-hmm.
So guess I'm going to learn compromising information. Would that give me the actual information or just give me the blackmail?
Rather than the blackmail chips, I'd rather just give you the information personally rather than the tokens.
That's fine.
Just because narratively that makes more sense. I think you can figure out that as you kind of go around and talk to people, you can figure out that, I'll just tell you this. Yogo Sako is in the pocket of Governor Hyogo, and she's definitely willing to cover things up if they make her Hyobu look bad.
Okay.
So if there's something that would make Hyobu look bad, Yogo Sako is definitely willing to cover that up. And you'll hear people talk about how Asako's the magistrate, but the governor's the one in charge. And if you say something like, but doesn't Shoju, the leader of the Scorpion clan, appoint Yogo Sako? It's yeah, sure. But Hyobu's the one in charge. She's the one running the show.
Okay. So that takes a couple days for me.
So paint the scene for us of this party, if that's what we're doing.
Sure. Well, got my list of people, inviting the other magistrates and their families, the 3 Shugenjos, which are Kitsu Senshi.
Kitsu Senshi is the former magistrate, not of this city, but used to be a magistrate long ago. She's very old.
She's the one who planted the tree?
No, that's Matsu Shigeko.
Is she a Shugenja?
No.
Why I made
Kitsu Senshi is. Matsu Shigeko is not a Shugenja.
Oh, okay. You just asked it in the back.
Yeah. So Kitsu Senshi is the woman who came in and criticized Yugare.
Wait, and she's a Shugenja?
Yeah.
Okay. And Asako Kinto.
Asako Kinto is definitely a Shugenja.
Old man guy.
He's Shiba Shonagon's uncle.
Who was the previous person who planted the tree?
Matsu Shigeko.
Okay.
She's the person in the dossier who tells you a lot about the different people.
Okay. Maybe I got her mixed up with this Yusuke person. Because that's I wanted to invite that person too. And who's Doji Sugamara?
Just a wealthy Crane Clan samurai.
That's right. I was going to invite him also. Or her. Whoever.
Okay.
Going to invite Yogo Sako.
All right.
I was going to...
By the way, she knows my investigation.
Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one
the default
to know about.
Sorry.
Okay.
I realized I didn't say it. That's the default. I didn't choose that she didn't learn.
Okay. It's important.
I'm going to do this kind of tricky. I'm going to give one invitation to the Bayushi family, but I'm going to send that out last because I'm hoping that they don't actually come. But I feel if I don't invite them, it will look...
So you send it out like 3 hours before the party. You're like...
Yeah. It's like the morning of. Like,
the invite
any
got there.
Bayushi who would...
I sent the invite. I don't know why you didn't show up. That's not my fault.
Okay.
I'm thinking of inviting Kimmy. Just Kimmy. Do you think that would work? I
Do
think
it.
so.
Do it. Invite Kimmy. Invite just Kimmy. Like, send her an invitation and then send the family an invitation later.
Actually, I was thinking of having one of you two do that. Like, of course I'm inviting you, or any of you three. But maybe if you wanted to, I guess it would make more sense with you. Like, maybe Kimmy and her husband to be.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
I'll invite him. I will. When I go to the residence too, just because Ishi just likes being annoying to all these people that just cause him so much trouble every day.
But yeah, so I guess, and then like background characters that
Okay. But the people you want to be there are Doji Sukamura, Kitsu Senshi, Asako Kinto, Aji, Yugare and his family, Ishi.
I didn't write down the tree lady.
Matsu Shigeko, you'll have to go out of the city to go find her.
Oh, she left the whole city?
Yeah, she's not even in the city. She retired to like a monastery.
Jesus. Maybe don't. Just for a birthday party, that's a little much.
But she's the tree person, right?
She's the person who planted that tree.
I'll send it to her.
She was the magistrate before Naritoki.
Sure, I'll send that to her. Maybe she'll get it.
Okay. And Yogo Asako, you're also going to send an invite to Kimmy.
Well, he's going to... Kimmy
You're going to have Ishi bring an invite
her
to Kimmy and Hida Asamitsu.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to send an invite to the Bayushi family, but don't really want them to come.
Right.
Okay.
I assume we're going to have it at the magistrate?
Sure.
Is that the game plan?
I think so.
All right.
So,
have you guys decorated?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Maybe I'll ask Hikari specifically to ask Yugare's wife to help.
Okay.
Give her something to bond over.
Good work.
Wife stuff.
Are you spending any cash on this?
Yes. I'm spending, I think 4.
4 wealth?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. All right.
So this is the most
So
lavish
you're holding
party
like a big lavish party.
I think that's the most
I
I can
have like
spend.
4 people there. Everybody else is just gonna bounce.
They feast for an entire town almost. So this is like an incredibly opulent party.
Mm-hmm.
A masquerade ball. All right. So yeah. So we've got this scene set with all these decorations. We see Hikari kind of finishing up, like instructing the servants on the last things to do at the magistrate's residence, especially in the garden and in some kind of like the more common rooms that are very austere, and kind of decorating them up substantially. And then, let's have you go ahead and make that roll. It could be like a party I threw in high school where no one shows up. I said party. I should have pluralized that word.
This is an elegant. Plus 2 elegant.
Jesus.
So 6 plus 2 is 8.
So very similar to that. If I pay stuff, I can choose one.
All right.
And I just pay random favor, so that works. Okay. I only get to choose one. But I think I'm going to do, what leverage would be effective, or what could I offer to get a character to... Which one's the most powerful Shugenja of that group? Or does it matter?
That group, they're both pretty old. Asako Kinto, as a phoenix, seems like he's more... The Phoenix are known more for being scholarly, but their clan also is known for being the most impressive when it comes to magic, or like knowledgeable when it comes to magic. Kitsu Senshi, the Kitsu are part of the Lion Clan and are known more for especially connection to ancestors. But she's also very old, but she used to be a magistrate.
Okay, well, let's see. Make more sense getting good with Kitsu. Well, I want to ask, what can I offer to get a character? Oh, well, I don't actually have to define the character possibly because it's phrased in. What can I offer to get a character to protect my family from this evil spirit thing? I think if I had to choose, though, I'd probably go with Kitsu
Senshi. I think you can kind of talk to them. Asako Kinto can 8 on this. I don't know if, based on their personality, I don't know if either one would come, but come to a party. But they'll make an appearance or like bring a gift and then kind of leave. But you're able to speak with Kitsu Senshi, and she's so you want protection for you want some kind of blessing for your family, some kind of ward.
Yeah, I was hoping something like that, just to get us completely settled in.
She says, "Settled in. Been the magistrate for 7 months." He's eyeballing. Yeah.
You said this was Senshi, right? It's like, oh, well,
trying to think of what actress would play this person, but again, I'm just coming up with Judi Dench and
McDonald.
Oh, sure, we'll have Maggie. What is her?
Oh yeah,
I forget what that actress's last name is, but yeah, Professor McGonagall.
She turns into a cat.
Away she goes. Give me cream. Can of tuna every now and then. But yeah, so she's.
Oh, does she have a family or anything?
And she says,
"You don't want to come with her?"
She says, I retired here."
Well, I'm sure when you were a magistrate, there were people that you were worried about. Kami or spirits, my side, focus on the city even better.
Isn't one of your comrades a priest?
Oh, of course. He is, but I know that it would mean a lot to my family and me if someone of your prestige would help us.
She says. So you'll go kind of back and forth. She's very unpleasant. She's very, very pushy. She's very, very judgmental. She'll point out a bunch how it doesn't seem like all of you live here. Why don't you? Like, there's 4 of you, but there's only 3 people that live here. That's odd.
I'll do that same thing. Like, oh well, such a big family. I thought I was taking up too much space, so I moved out.
She said, and she'll look around and be like, "Oh, that's a good plan for you. That's a good plan." No, she wouldn't be sarcastic. That was the thing where she just says like, "That's stupid." Yeah, she just says like, "That seems foolish. If you want protection from dark forces, moving away from the person who among you has the best ability to do that."
Now you see my dilemma. Why I'm coming to you.
Oh, seems like a peasant with a cart can solve that problem.
Move back in.
Oh,
Yep.
I see. I don't know if that would be pleasing to my wife. Try to help her out.
She says,
Women.
Well, no, she basically says like, "I never married. I didn't want to be slowed. I didn't want to be slowed down by someone who I couldn't, who I didn't think was competent enough to follow me on what I was doing. I came here when I retired to keep tabs on what I'd heard about a cult in this city."
What?
You look into that. You switch your priorities around to make sure this cult is something that's dealt with. And I'll help you with blessings.
That sounds like a great idea. Yeah, we've heard many things about this cult too. So
Moon worshippers, she says.
Yeah, that's them.
Sacrifices, dark rituals.
one of the things I'm hoping to get protection from.
Well,
many things I thought were impossible before I moved to the city.
Well, this city knows no bounds of what's possible when it comes to degradation. You'll get your blessing. I'll be back. But your priorities have to change.
Of course, I always I would always take your advice to heart. Glad that you gave it to me.
She says,
Respect, blah blah.
yeah. And she'll, and like on her, and I think as she's leaving, she'll be like, this is a strong building. Doesn't make sense to be gallivanting off to some other place. The numbers, strength. She'll like take, let's say she also walks with a cane. She like takes her cane and whacks like part of the wall because the build, like the outside of the building is pretty like strong. Mm-hmm. And she'll be like, it's a good strong home. And then she'll take her cane and like readjust something that was crooked, and then be off. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of that character. But yeah, she's down. If you readjust your priorities to that moon cult, she's down.
That seems fine.
All right. How about you guys, Aji or Yugare? And all of you are at this party if you want to be. So if you'd rather have like your time around the table. You want the list of who showed up and who did not show up?
Sure.
Doji Sugimura will definitely be there. Kitsu Senshi showed up briefly. Asako Kento, I feel like, showed up and like gave a gift, and the gift was like a plant, like a really elaborate plant. Yogo Asako was there. I think she also didn't stay for super long. Kimi definitely did not show up. Asamitsu did. So Ide Asamitsu, her fiance, did show up, and he kind of awkwardly stood around quietly. He's a very quiet lad. The most we heard from him was when he was asking Ishi to help get Kimi out of there. Otato shows up, Korochika's son. So I think maybe Korochika would be the kind of person to maybe think like I've got stuff to do, this is on late notice, and like not show up. But Otato, I feel, would just show up.
It's fine.
He shows up, and I think that if you guys are there, you can see that there's kind of a terse moment between him and some of the Thunder Guard. He shows up with maybe like one of his retainers, or almost like a bodyguard kind of person. And so Bayushi Otato, Korochika's son, shows up. He wears a very stupid mask that somewhat makes him look like a rabbit. That if Shredder was like, what if I was a rabbit?
Oh my God,
yeah, it's a dumb outfit. But so he shows up in that, and
he looks like
there's kind of a tense moment with him and the Thunder Guard outside, but everything remains pretty calm. And but yeah, so he's the only one who shows up, and he has like a gift, or he'll say like basically say like, oh, my dad's sending a gift. He doesn't show up with one, but he says he's sending one. He only just got the invitation.
Oh,
He's
sorry.
Kind of rude.
Sorry for that
That's so weird. You said it months ago.
So, all right.
And then I was going to ask about that tree too. If anyone, either the monk person or maybe the guy who gave the elaborate plant.
Just a gardener here.
Do we want to know about that right now? Let's talk to these other guys and see what's up.
I think I am at that party, but I don't know that I have a big.
If you don't have a scene for that, don't worry about it.
So I want to go to the Dragon Tower and check on my new friend.
Ajo?
Yeah. Basically, I want to check the pulse. Like, I know that Thunderguard are very cold toward us, but I'm hoping at least that guy, is a little friendlier, and maybe he's even said to some people, hey, these guys aren't so bad, or something like that.
Sure.
So I want to check on that, and then see if they'll tell me stuff.
Okay, well, let's say that you go to meet up with Ajo, and you head there, and we see you at the Dragon Tower, and then we see Ajo, who he has the equivalent of a broken nose and a black eye, and but he's still on duty, and he comes and sits down. You guys either can meet at a tea house or a sake house. You can meet up in the Shisuro Gardens.
Is he on duty at the time?
It could be when he's getting up off of a shift, or it could be when he's on duty.
Yeah, I think I almost want to meet with him in the Dragon Tower. Nope.
So unless you have some kind of reason to go in there, just meeting up with him in there is probably not gonna fly. You can go into it if you have to like talk to people, but to like sit there and have a meeting with him, there's going to be a lot of other people around.
Yeah.
So if you're cool with that, that's fine.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because my first, I got 2 priorities, but the first one is to check the pulse of the Thunder Guard.
Sure. And so Ajo he takes his helmet off, and he's I think he's younger than you thought he was, and you see that he's only probably. Most of you guys made your characters younger than I thought you would, but he's probably only 19 years old.
I'm still
so maybe 19 or 20 years old at the most.
Almost a decade older than he is still.
Right. And Ishi's 20 years older than this guy.
So I'll kind of just go in comfortably, act like I belong.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, people will definitely ask you what's up and what's going on, and I'll say that at some point Ajo sees you and he's taking his helmet off, and they all have the red plumes of feathers, and he says, Ishi's son, hello. Yugare-san, hello, he says.
I always get you two confused.
Yeah, I always get you two confused. You're both older than me.
Probably because,
That's it.
I can see how that would
I have face blindness, but age...
Age.
And also age, basically also blindness.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I think when people
Older
ask...
than 19, the same.
what I'm doing now. So, I'm looking for Ajo, who was in an incident the other night, and I tried to help him, and I want to check on him and make sure he's okay.
Yeah, and I think he's you can find him, and he's kind of getting ready to go out on a patrol or something like that.
So maybe I just start out by reading a situation.
Sure, we can do that.
I want to see.
So that's what?
10.
10, not a bad roll.
So he says, Yugare.
Yugare, what? Hello. What brings you out to the tower? Is something wrong? You don't have to come all the way out here if something's wrong. I mean,
No, I just wanted to check on you and ask about the state of the other guards who were hurt. Make sure you're recovering properly from that incident.
he's like, well, it's just bumps and scrapes for me. But I mean, if it wasn't for you, 3 of us would have died that night. So again, thank you.
Were any of them your friends?
He says, oh yeah, the guy that you helped. It's he's someone I've worked with a lot. We're buddies.
I think I'll just kind of Yugare's thing. I'm going to be honest with you, Ajo.
Stop. Now we're gonna have to make a Thunder Guard with each of our names 1 letter different.
Yugaro.
Taiyo.
You've been thinking this whole time.
Since I took up the mantle of Emerald Magistrate, I've occasionally found difficulties in dealing with the Thunder Guard, and I hope that we can pave some sort of friendship between us, that we'll be able to work together to serve the city, instead of, as it has sometimes felt, in opposition.
I mean, we're looking to just keep the laws of the city in place.
Yes, I certainly don't believe it's the Thunder Guard themselves that are trying to prevent the city from being kept safe, but perhaps that there'd be some giving the orders who have their own best interests at heart.
I don't know about that. Everything seems... I mean, I've never met the governor, but I've met Jocho, and he's definitely wants to make sure that the city's safe, laws are followed, that kind of stuff.
Well, I don't know what to attribute my concerns then. Perhaps it's only been in my head.
He's like, you've had trouble with folks?
Sometimes when I seek to arrest someone, the Thunder Guard have been commanded there first. And, sometimes when I want to enter a situation to
I think when you say that, he does like a... And he kind of clears his throat, like...
Well, what should I be on the lookout for? I got a 10 on my read a situation.
I know. Okay. There's an order to this city, and you guys are upsetting this order, and basically, there's an order... He can tell you that there's an order to this city. And this is how he'll kind of explain it to you. You know, this is a big city. There's a lot of stuff going in and out all the time. There's people from all over the Empire here. There's people from outside the Empire here. And he's like, this place is huge. He says there's an order that we gotta make sure to follow. You guys don't seem to understand that order. So, and he's basically telling you, like, if you are disrupting the way the process works, that you are going to become targets. That there is a way to do stuff within the framework of how this city operates, and you guys have often chosen not to do it that way.
Is he talking about like a social contract way of doing things, or like a actual legislated way of doing things?
Probably more a social contract way of doing things. Like there's a way that stuff gets done in this city, and if you want to do stuff, you have to understand it and go through that. Otherwise, you're going up against something very, very big and very messy, and it's not good.
Well, perhaps it's my inexperience in any place like this city. I'll admit I was thrust into this role somewhat unprepared. Perhaps, what are some things that you would advise of us to help us stay within the boundaries?
And he'll say, I mean, he'll say, I haven't run into you guys too often aside from last night. And I think he's not getting ready to go on duty. That would be kind of silly because he did just get in that like crazy incident. I think he's just been there kind of like talking to people and hanging around. And you caught him almost on his way out the door. He says, he's like, don't sweat the small stuff. And he'll say, there's stuff that's not worth your time. And honestly, that's why we're here. Let us handle that. He's like, if you're trying to make a big deal out of little stuff, people are going to get ticked off. You're doing their job.
I see. Well, there are some big things that have kept low profiles within the city, and those are the things we're trying to uncover. And maybe if he's trying to move out the door, I'm ready to start walking with him.
Sure.
And once we're like maybe outside, I'll ask, like, have you, are there things like the ninjas and demons and cults are things that I've seen glimpses of.
He'll kind of shake his head and be like, I would have said that was all a bunch of nonsense until last night.
Last night?
When you healed that guy who was dying directly in front of my eyes.
Well,
Or maybe a night ago, since I said this is 2 or 3 days.
Right.
So, when we were at Karaku's Inn.
Yeah. I think Yugare is still surprised because he doesn't think what he does is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like, he's used to it. But, so it's a little uncomfortable being, like, directly associated with demons and cults.
Yeah, this guy basically is like, everything that you just described to me, I would have told you was nonsense. But that night at Karaku's Inn, that changed my mind about that, so now I don't know.
Well, I will tell you, Ajo, that much of what we've been doing that may seem small is in pursuit of these hidden mysteries that are weaving corruption throughout the city. And I don't want to I don't want to say overstep my bounds because I feel like I'm the magistrate, but I don't want to irritate the system that you have in place. But in order to root out the evils, we need to work in concert. And if you may have, or perhaps these hidden mysteries have been just beyond your peripheral vision, things that you have not been looking for and thus have not seen. But if there's anything that comes to mind that in retrospect or in the future you think maybe could be hints of something like this, I hope that we and I would be among those you would tell about that type of thing.
I think I understand you.
And I know that you have a reputation to keep up, and that the Thunder Guard and magistrates have not always gotten along since we came on board. But if there's any way I could ask you to get your friends to be a little more amenable to us, I would appreciate it. And I will ask my comrades as well that, on your behalf, that we would let you do your jobs.
Sounds like you're manipulating this guy.
All right. 7. So I guess what I'm asking is that he will tell me anything he knows or any hints or leads he has about weird stuff.
Uh-huh.
And in return, I will needs to tell the magistrates
Mind your business.
that we, be a little more mindful of letting the Thunder Guard do their job and not getting in the way all the time.
I think this guy likes you, so he's just like, I think you just say, like, if you promise, if I see anything real weird. Oh, no, he'll tell you right away something. But I think you guys might already know this. Almost a week ago, somebody set the fields on fire and used some kind of magic to trick us. They were able to get away. They were able to light the fields on fire. They were even able to get us fighting one another.
I guess not, but do you have any hunches or suspicions of your own regarding that?
And he says, that had to be magical. I mean, again, everybody said that. Didn't make any sense, but I couldn't explain it any other way. And now that I saw what you did, I mean, I guess they're right. There's no other explanation for it. Why would guys that have worked together for all these years end up fighting with one another? And how could somebody just get away like that?
Do you have any idea of why someone would even want to do that?
And to that, he says, I don't know what to think with somebody who can do that.
I'm afraid it couldn't be that easy, could it? If we knew the motivations, be halfway to the culprit already.
And again, the city is fairly calm. There's a lot more Thunder Guard inside the city than there had been previously. Aji. What is Aji up to?
I'd like to go to the Temple of the Sun Goddess and visit the Priestess Mayo.
All right. So you head to this. Is that what you really want to do?
Yeah.
All right. So the temple of Amaterasu is made out of these white limestone blocks that are like glisteningly white. Almost basically think like white marble kind of things. But all of the rest of the limestone in the entire city is green, or has like a green tint to it, or like green veins that run through it, whereas this is like pristinely white. One of the names of the city is the City of Green Walls. And so this is the only thing that has these stones. And yeah, I know, useful, right? So,
do these have walls on them?
It also has, and while that's pretty impressive, the more impressive thing is the 70-foot, pole, almost like flagpole-esque thing that has like a golden shining sun sphere above the temple. And if you get there, the temple is almost always busy. There are always people coming there to pray day in and day out. You also know that the Temple of Amaterasu is the only place in the city where you can basically go and get legal opium. Or at least not, I shouldn't say legal opium, but the equivalent of a prescription for opium pills, opium tablets.
Came to the right place.
So you definitely know that as a magistrate and as a person who likes opium.
You guys didn't know, did you?
Well, and it's very, very busy. I think one of the nuns, if that's what you would call a female monk in the society, comes up to you and kind of bows and recognizes that. Do you have your badge on?
Yes.
All right. Recognizes that you're a magistrate and says oh, magistrate Sama. Oh no, actually she doesn't do that at all. She just says she's just magistrate Sama, and kind of bows and just greeting you like really anybody else.
Greets me like anyone else? Yes. I'd like to see the priestess, the head priestess. I would like some healing.
She says, and you are, I feel on crutches and shambling into this place.
I need some healing, please. And do you really though?
Tiny Tim style. And she says, oh, you do seem very hurt. Please, here, come have a seat over here.
Thank you.
And she says, Priestess Mayo is seeing to some other parishioners who are in pain, giving them blessings and such. She's asked me that perhaps you could meet her in this garden. And there's a garden that the monastery or nunnery, the temple has.
Of course.
She'll kind of bow and help you over there. And it's a garden that is it's well maintained, but it's pretty small. It's almost like a Zen garden-esque little space that the monks or the priestesses maintain, and you can kind of sit out there and hang around if you want for a little while, until eventually Priestess Mayo, who's a very old woman, but who carries herself with she carries herself very well for a woman whose face looks as old as it does, and her eyes are very bright. She doesn't seem tired in the slightest, but her hands are very, very small and frail. Or not frail, but just very small. And she says, "Oh, Aji, I thought we would have seen you sooner."
Oh, yes. I've recently gone through a tough time, and I hear you're the best at what you do.
And she says,
Wolverine.
and she says, "Oh, it's only recently?"
There have been other times, but can you help me or not?
She says, when I'd heard you came to this city, when I learned you came to this city, I thought it was maybe because I wondered if it was because your sickness had drawn you here to make you far worse, or if it was a test from the fortunes to make you better.
At first, I thought it was a blessing that I was assigned here, but I'm starting to see it as more of a curse. I need your assistance, your power.
She says, we can only help you as much as you're willing to help yourself. We can heal. This body can heal, but until the spirit within it knows who it truly is, it doesn't matter if it ever heals. In the end, it's just a matter of time.
What do you suggest? How do I get to know my spirit?
She says, ask yourself who you are. If you don't know the answer, you need to keep searching. The search, though, isn't always something you can find outside of yourself. You have to have the map that you seek is within you.
Then you'll help me if I discover this answer, or will this help me completely if I find this map?
She says, it's the only answer that you ever need find. She says, until you know who you are. Again, it doesn't matter if I help you. It doesn't matter how many surgeons stitch up your wounds. It doesn't matter how many bandages are applied. It doesn't matter what poultices or herbs or medicines are brewed for you. Those things may keep your body intact. They may keep you walking without crutches. They may keep you fighting, but it's only a matter of time. A ship that has no course never arrives at its destination. It is always lost. She says, find your course, Aji.
Well, thank you for your sage wisdom. And I bow, but it hurts. And I leave.
So, she will help you in regard to your physical wounds. I think that she'll have some of, like, the other nuns will come over and they'll kind of, like, help you, and they'll kind of better dress some of your wounds. And as you're sitting there, and people are kind of, like washing, like, the wound on your face and, like, the wound in your guts, which is pretty significant. I think partially poked out through your back, maybe. Yeah. And, yeah, you said that you described some pretty grisly stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how you're recovering from that intestines thing.
Yeah. But as you're doing that, could you, Yugare, how do you make the roll that could heal somebody? It's a blessed roll, right?
It is, but it's weird because I have to roll high enough to choose the right element.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, you want me to roll that move?
No, absolutely not. Aji's going to roll for that move.
Then you subtracted blessed.
Good thing, baby.
Yeah.
A -2 blessed is going
All right.
solid.
You got a 1?
That's
a one.
one. Hey, I don't think anybody's rolled a 0 yet. That's all I gotta say. If
So
you roll the
what-
first 0, I think you just win.
There. Not bad.
I think you just win.
That's
the
10 on,
RPG.
like, a D20, man.
Come on, man.
Like, no, usually it's a 20. Anyway, the D10. Never mind. It explodes. Wrong game. So, she places a hand on your shoulder and says,
It's not your hand. It's just a severed hand.
You sneeze and no
Oh,
one
thank
says
God.
bless you.
Laura Dern in Jurassic Park. All right, and she'll just kind of, they're kind of cleaning your wounds and whatnot, and she'll say,
With salt.
yeah, there's something very dark. There's something very dark following you, and until you can clean up the darkness within yourself, you won't be able to fight it.
Do I heal harm?
Ooh.
You heal a single harm. Welcome to the life of healing in this game. It's one only ever.
I'm thinking about yes, but I'm not sure about that. You did botch that roll pretty bad.
Yeah?
Let's see you heal.
Yeah, go for it. You heal one. The next 2 nights, you find yourself, for the most part, Aji, unable to sleep. You'll fall asleep for a moment, but wake up, generally in a cold sweat, as if you had a nightmare, but you cannot remember it. You constantly have to retreat your wounds. Regularly stitches or bandages will kind of like leak. And on the 3rd night after the executions of Jaw and Lean Meat, you find yourself in an opium den. You're there, you're kind of lying on a pillow, you've got your pipe. Do you have like your usual pipe? Do you have like a pipe that you usually use, or is it just like you just use whichever one?
Yeah, you gotta have your own pipe.
Of course, yeah. So you have your instrument, as they call it in Ryoko Owari, and you're kind of lying back, and you can see the smoke, and you can see that other people are there, and you take like another hit of the opium, and kind of your body sinks into this cushion as you relax, and you see these other people, these other opium users, start to kind of crawl towards you, and they're slowly pulling themselves. And most opium users are like in a daze a lot, where they're kind of not only relaxed, but very, they're not necessarily comatose, but they're real kind of zonked out for the most part, at least for a period of time. It takes a lot for a person to smoke opium and then be like, all right, let's meet the day. And these people are kind of crawling toward you, and soon they kind of grab at your feet, and they kind of grab at the bandages covering your stomach, and they start to reach into you and pull out some of the intestines that were there, and slowly more and more of yourself is being pulled out, and these people just look up at you, and their faces seem hollow, and they say, Aji,
What do you want?
we've got a gift for you, Aji. All that you could ever want, more. No more pain. These legs of yours that barely work, the guts of yours that are barely held into your stomach, will be bound tighter than they ever have. Your legs will be stronger than they ever have, faster than they ever have. What's more is, you can have as much as you want. So, we've watched you, Aji. We know what you want. All you've got to give us is a little thing in return. They're going to stop you, you know. They're going to stop you from getting what you want. They're going to take this position away from you. And this is all of these people speaking at one time. They're going to take this position away from you. They'll take everything that you want. They'll take it away. They'll take away your position. They'll make you a laughingstock. You'll be thrown out of your family, thrown out of your house.
Who's they?
Oh,
Why? Why?
Why, the men who live in this very house with you. It's only a matter of time before they turn on you. They've seen what you've taken here and there. They've seen the smoke coming out of you. And they know that a man like you is not fit for this position. Prove them wrong, Aji.
They wouldn't do that.
Oh, how they would. Traitors, backstabbers, betrayers. You've got to stop them before they take away everything you've had. Do you want your mother to be proud of you, Aji? Do you want your poor father's spirit to be rested? Aji, you know what you have to do.
What is your bargain?
I only want to help you.
And what do you want from me?
And he says, I want to make sure you keep your position. You know who you have to deal with. And the faces that you see are the 3 faces of these guys. Of Taiyo, Ishi, and Yugare. And the voice just says, they're going to take it all away from you. All of it. Go ahead and make a love roll. What? Ooh. How are we doing? We got a 6 plus?
0.
6 plus 0. So yeah, so you get another one of those, but aren't necessarily moved by it. But I think that's where that dream ends, and you kind of wake up in a cold sweat again. So on the fourth day, the morning of the fourth day, are you, Taiyo, is Taiyo at his family residence or the magistrate residence?
Where do you hang?
If it's not my office hours, I'd probably be at home.
All right. So, I think Bayushi Otato shows up at your door.
Okay.
And he's like, my dad needs to talk to you about as politely as that.
Okay.
I feel like the perfect response to that is, what are you, his errand boy now? is that what you're reduced to? But
no. Sure. Give me a moment to get ready.
And he's like, and he basically says like this is important. He'll awkwardly wait around inside. And he's there with like a bodyguard.
And I'll hurry. But...
Okay. And you head to Korchika's place, a 3-story estate, and it's in the old section of the Noble Quarter, which is like the slightly more northern section. And Korchika's there, and again, he has a lot of these retainers. That number has not reduced. Things have been calm in the city, but that number of retainers that he has not shrunken. And he's like, Taiyo, it's good that you're here. And he's like, well, she made her next move.
What? Who?
Hayobu.
What'd she do?
She says, Otato will take you out to horses' stables. It's like she knew that I needed them, and now they're gone.
Your horses?
Yeah.
I thought you said this was past you. This dispute. You settled it.
Yeah, we had. Everything had been peaceful, and then look what she goes and does.
How do you know it was her? Just motive, or do you have anything that connects it?
It's if I can get supplies onto caravans, not just regular caravans, but on caravans of half-breed unicorn steeds, my supplies can get much farther, much faster than anything else going by land, which means all of that Soshi territory, which was still not accounted for completely, becomes mine. All of the slack interest where I think Serioku was right, Hayobu was eating up the profits there, I can fill in those gaps. I could. He's real pissed off. And he says, if you want to go check it out, I tried to keep a lid on it, but there's dozens of goddamn horses running around, each one of which is worth a small fortune.
Oh, they're just let out?
Yeah.
That's what I thought too.
Those are fucking slaughterhouse.
No, all of them are gone. We can round them up here and there, but...
So that's just a setback, detrimental.
Well, a horse being dead is a bigger setback.
Yeah, you said they weren't dead.
The steeds aren't dead. They're gone. They're missing. They've been scattered. She's dead.
Oh.
Horse the merchant. Yeah.
Yes, I see.
Confusing for sure.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, okay, yeah, that's... bad name.
Okay. How does that set you back? Just because no one can order them? What was her actual role?
She already had the unicorn steeds. She could crossbreed those steeds with regular Rokugani ponies and make horses that weren't the same pedigree, but were still more than twice as fast as the average Rokugani pony.
Oh.
And could pull almost twice as much. She knew how to do that, and she had the stock. Now the stock's gone, and she's dead.
But his idea was he was going to kind of get in on the governor's territory by getting these horses to do the job better?
He's telling you that he was going to try to just supply his areas faster and make up for any poaching that she's doing in his territory, as well as maybe get in on Serioku's territory, which isn't quite accounted for yet, since she's disappeared.
Right, okay. So, sort of overstepping his bounds. This kind of makes sense. So, how do you meet with her anymore? Or what's going on with that?
He's like, it's things have been calm until now.
So you have been meeting with her?
No, I've been meeting with her.
Well, I'll take a look.
Yeah, he's just kind of real pissed off, and I think kind of just shaking his head.
Yeah, is there anything that connects her to this?
It only makes sense. What happened to Watchful? Now look what happens to one of my merchants. a merchant necessary for my plans.
Well,
I had sharp hired a Jimbo, which I appreciate, which was a good plan.
Mm-hmm. Well, we made sure the person who killed Watchful hung 4 days ago.
I was like, I don't know about that. Hayobu's still in the city.
He's got a point.
And so is Subtle.
Can I bring one of the other magistrates back and look at it then?
And he says, can you keep them focused on finding who committed the murder and not why?
Yes. If he were to read me, I would be lying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can do that at all.
He says that's fine. You're just make sure they're not snooping around too much.
Okay.
You're in this, and he says you're in this too.
Yeah. Specifically gonna try and get Yugare in on this, and maybe leave the other two out.
Oh, and I think as you're going, he'll ask. No, never mind.
If you remember, I mean,
I had a thing, but it doesn't quite make sense.
All right. So yeah, I'll send for Yugare, and then I guess check this place out. Wait for him to come over.
All right. So Yugare, you get a message asking you to meet Taiyo in the Merchant Quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Up in the Two Gates district, the northern district of the Merchant Quarter. So you guys meet up at the Emerald Cup and then head to Speed of the Northlands. When you get there, it's basically as Korchika described it to you. There is a woman who has been absolutely trampled to death by horses. It's very clear what the cause of death was.
A horse killed by a horse.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, is she like near the stables?
Yeah, she's near these stables, and there's kind of flies on the body already. Yeah.
So where? So she like
She's in
the stables,
like in the stables, and clearly has been just trampled to death.
And what's the status of the doors that were holding the horses in their stables?
They are not shut. They are open.
Open, not shut.
Yeah. So all of the
Jeez.
all the little stalls for these horses are all open, and the like exterior door is closed. And there were maybe a couple like Bayushi samurai like hanging around outside it. But no horses are there.
Well, I guess
so
what
the
I
answer
meant
is inherently
are
they
the
left.
doors like broken?
No,
Or were they?
No, the doors are broken.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm here to look into the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alright.
Someone obviously killed this person.
Right.
I think my theory would be that in Korchika's too, that the governor was involved since.
My theory is that whatever Shugenja is causing all of this disarray riled the horses.
Yeah, that seems likely too.
But I will see what the spirits can reveal for me, seeking their wisdom
Oh no.
Oh boy, oh boy.
with a 5.
That's
not as good as it could
kind of
have
bad
been.
rolls this
That's
round.
an experience point.
But
You get an
most of them
experience
love
point.
rolls, so.
All right.
I take it back. I don't invite you.
Oh, maybe.
Let's go back a little bit.
Disappointed.
Me.
You should learn to, like, trust us. And all that.
I'm going to stick with my theory. The spirits are very quiet today. Maybe all the spirits got tired out already from the other thing they did before, which was riling up the horses.
Oh, right. The horse spirits.
Horse spirits.
Legend of the Six Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize, Taiyo. I guess I've exhausted myself more than I knew over the past few trying days.
Well, is there anything we notice just looking around?
And read the situation.
Yeah, that one.
Also not great, but your stuff is higher, right?
Yeah, it's an 8.
An 8.
Could have asked any on several points.
Yeah.
So just one, I guess. It'd be the enemy's true position.
True position. You could tell that there's a lot of collateral damage here. Like all these horses are now all over the place. It's not exactly quiet.
Yeah.
Like Hayobu, if from what you know, Hayobu was responsible for, or at least Hayobu's merchant was responsible for killing Watchful, hiring Jaw to kill Watchful. That was kind of as much as that could be like done by comparison subtly. Now there are all these horses that are running around in the merchant quarter. Each of these horses would be the equivalent of like if you were just like, oh, I lost all these Porsches.
Mm-hmm.
And I left the keys in them. Weird, right?
How embarrassing.
Plus now imagine if the Porsche could just drive by itself and was spooked by everything. And so
real scared.
And it was
dog.
half unicorn.
So
And it could be pooping anywhere.
Oh god.
A lot of collateral there.
Pooping car that just
Think of all
eats
those loans
grass,
that
I guess.
right. So it wouldn't make sense for it to be Hyobu. Like, this doesn't fit the MO there. She has the motive, but this doesn't match her mode.
Mm-hmm.
But can you think of anybody else who does have the motive in this? Leave it to you guys.
I guess the unicorns.
And you remember that Horse used to be a vassal of the Shinjos in this city.
They're the
basically-
actual.
And Korochika basically poached her from them. Horse, capital H.
That's.
It is. Horse the Merchant is what I'll
There
try
you
to
go.
say. Horse the Merchant, yeah.
I'm going to share that brain montage I just had. Maybe it's these people.
Who are they again?
They're the unicorn that are officially in charge, although Ide?
Ide. I used to always say Ide, but Ide.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ide are the most influential, maybe.
Officially in charge of what?
They're the highest ranking unicorn family here.
Oh, and who was taking over their spot?
The Korochika hired the merchant Horse from them, and he was saying that he was hoping to breed unicorn with regular horses. Maybe they got wind of that, or maybe it's just revenge. But either way, he's positive that it's the governor, and that could be bad based on his reaction last time.
Right. So this distrust and chaos that's been sown among these powerful people in the city, this is an incident where you now believe that one of them is suspected of causing it, but it did not cause it. Could these unicorn people also have caused some of the other problems? Would they have motivations in other situations as well?
Maybe something,
Or is
not
it
something
more of
I
a coincidence?
thought of. I think it might be a coincidence, but I don't know. That's a good point. I don't think we've ever even talked to this family, have we?
The Shinjo?
Yeah.
No Shinjo.
Aji has, but you guys have not. Nobody else has, I don't think.
Did we know do you remember what that was about?
The Shinjo? What's the first name?
Shinjo, you should talk to either Yoshifusa or Sanafusa.
Talk to Sanafusa.
The younger one, Sanafusa.
Why? Do you remember why?
Well, I think I've actually talked to both.
You only talked to the younger one.
Yeah. Talk to the younger one about Magda,
Sanafusa, yeah. Yep.
because they're the patrons of the house.
Oh, that's okay.
Sanafusa was just pissed off because the horse got stolen. Or Hurtado has his horse, the best horse in the town.
Maybe we should talk to them.
Ishi or Aji, what are either of your characters up to?
So what my question really, do I have to do more stuff with Jojo to like, get him on the plan, or is at this point just waiting until the end of winter?
It's kind of waiting to the end of winter and waiting for Asako Anjo. Ooh, I've got a scene directly for Ishi, if you're
Sure.
having a thing. You can talk via letters with this person over like these couple of days, and that person is Asako Anjo. And Asako Anjo sends you a letter that says, from this point forward, you're the contact person for the Emerald Champion.
Okay.
It says, we've received, like, keep an eye on the performance of your fellow magistrates, as we've received some bothersome, he basically says disturbing, but uses a more polite term.
Okay.
Like letters about their conduct in the city and their I almost want to say efficacy, but I think I'm fucking that word up and using that word wrong. Basically, like ability and wherewithal, like ability and willingness to do the job. and it specifically points to Aji and Taiyo.
Okay, if he sent me this letter, I would just reply in the affirmative, be I will do my best to see what's going on and to see what is why there are these reports coming in, and kind of be supportive of my fellow magistrates, but not but deferring to him and being okay, I will fully investigate this matter. I do not believe that they would do this, but I'm taking every single precaution.
Bringing it to the present, you get another letter that basically says excellent. I'm making arrangements to come to the city in person, but have to wait till, have to finish business I have at Kayu Nakoma and the city where you met up with Doji Setsume, the actual Emerald Champion. And he says, I have to finish up business that I have at Kayu Nakoma and have to wait for appropriate travel conditions. However, message will be sent to you immediately before I'm ready to travel, so you can prepare. Keep that message as secret as possible, unless your plans are ready. The people I want to see this specifically are Ishi, and I think if Yugare saw it, it would be good. This is going to be in the Merchant Quarter. Builder's hammer strikes the final nail. He wipes his brow, and he looks at his crew of carpenters and laborers. They've worked to complete this task quickly, but Builder is not a man that would allow shoddy work to be done in his name. Doji Sukamura, Builder's patron, has checked on the work periodically. Not too often, of course, but even his curiosity has been piqued by this job. Builder nods his head. The job is finished, and the impatient but seemingly disinterested client mounts the wooden platform. Kuni Renyu smacks his hand against the gallows beam. Kuni Renyu, I imagine, by the way, is played by Daniel Day-Lewis.
The witch hunter.
Yeah, with the scar on his eye and the stringy hair that's in a ponytail, and he wears leather, which is I just imagine him as the Witcher from... That is exactly who I'm literally modeling him after.
Okay, cool.
The only way that he's different is he is fantasy Japanese Witcher, and he has that painted red circle on his head. But yeah, he basically looks at... Right, okay. Exactly. That is who I was thinking of. Ryoko Owari Civil Hall has a gallows, but not one of this size, not one made to accommodate, that is, hang, a half-dozen men at a time.
Jesus.
The morbid task of execution doesn't seem to affect Kuni Renyu. He tugs and tests the tan rope as a farmer might examine fruit in his orchard. The Seven Corners intersection is the busiest place in Ryoko Owari Toshi, and the spectacle today has not changed that. Hundreds of people, commoners and samurai alike, gather to see the grim work. Yoko Asako, astride a horse that seems almost as disinterested as she usually does, looks on disapprovingly. The Thunder Guard, numbering no more than a dozen or so, see more spectators than law enforcement. And by the way, Yoko Asako is looking on disapprovingly, not the horse, in case there was any confusion there. Kuni Renyu stands atop the gallows and says, "These blasphemers have broken the law of the heavens. There's no stay of punishment for those that have sinned like this. They are the rot in the wood of the great tower of the Son of Heaven." So, ideally, Ishi, I could hear an argument for you, Gray. Go ahead and make a bold roll.
Either or both?
Either of you. Whoever you'd rather.
I'll do it. I know you. I know who you are. You took a negative. I couldn't you took a negative.
All right, pretty good. 10?
It's probably an 11 or something.
Is it a 12?
No.
It's 11?
It's an 11.
Okay.
Close. Very close to 12. Bold's only a 1.
All right. So, 6 people are brought up onto the gallows. And Kuni Renyu...
none of them are my boys.
None of them are. Your guys are there.
Okay.
But none of them are your troops. They're 6 seemingly commoners. And he says, these, he uses a term like blasphemers or something like that. He's like, these 6 have spit in the face of the emperor by worshipping the moon. These 6 have not only sought to bring down the celestial order, but have worshipped a demon in a cave not far from here. These 6, for these crimes, must die. And I think your guys, the soldiers, a few of them are the people who push these guys off the gallows. And so these folks, much more in kind of the system of we're used to seeing a gallows, fall. And so these 6 people are executed in that. And we just see this big crowd kind of gather. And Yogo Asako, whoever among you is there, Yogo Asako just kind of looks at you guys and just is like, no. I think she's just kind of shaking her head very disapprovingly.
City of Lies is Toan as Kakita Aji, Branden as Hida Ishi, David as Bayushi Taiyo, Andrew as Agasha Yugare, and Austin as your Game Master. The theme music for City of Lies is Mission of Danger by Lobo Loco.
This episode includes additional music, including Churchy by Coven and Around the Village by Lobo Loco. Our intro was read by Scott. The sound effect for this episode includes Human Heartbeat Sound by Daniel Simon. This American Dice Ryoko Owari City of Lies uses the City of Lies box set by Greg Stolz, published by Alderac Entertainment Group. The mechanics used is a modified PBTA system by Brendan Taylor of Galileo Games. Join us next time for more This American Dice.